Diversity means representation from everyone, and that means gender, background, and race. For me in venture capital, and what I'm focusing on, diversity is around gender. It is open to interpretation, but what it doesn't mean is an all-white teams, which is what we've seen and where and what we're trying to address, not only with Her Capital, but with a lot of the businesses that are focused on diversity. Beyond diversity, we should be looking at inclusion as well. So we should be striving for diversity, so representation from everywhere, but also how we include those people in the conversation and how they are treated with our, in particular with our HR policies. So it's not just about meeting a number and having that quota, it's about how we include them in every conversation and every policy we make. That's an even better question. And I wish I knew the answer to that. Now, there is solid evidence to suggest that diverse teams result in better financial performance. And I think the case is probably stronger now than ever before. I think that, so McKinsey put out a fantastic report in, I think it was May this year. And the statistics within that report are very compelling. Businesses that have the highest percentile of gender diversity in their leadership teams perform 25% better with regards to profitability. So, and then there's a whole host of stats out there that back that up. Why aren't businesses adopting diversity and inclusion faster when you can make that direct correlation between that and performance, diversity and performance? I don't know, other than it's hard to change the status quo. And when you have a team of let's say white males running businesses, it's hard to change if the changes in that team are incrementally improving with gender diversity. Then it takes a very bold business to make drastic changes, and that's tough, I think, for businesses is to make. It's not impossible, and there are great examples of businesses that are adopting gender diversity and have great policies, like Citigroup, for example. But I think the correlation between the 2 points is not acknowledged enough, and I think we need to talk about that more. I think it goes back to what I just said, which is being bold. And I think leadership teams need to now be bold. And without that boldness and that strength of conviction to strive for diversity and real actual policies and that are going to ensure some significant change. It's not about, perhaps we need to review the way that we are recruiting people. Perhaps it's not qualifications, but capabilities, and to change the way that we are hiring people into those roles. Because if we look at history and the teams we've got, clearly our hiring practices are serving us and not serving us well in terms of creating diverse teams. And that doesn't mean we should, reduce the rate, the bar and lower our standards. It's not about that. It's just about changing the way we're reviewing candidates for roles and being bold in our actions. And also going back to the previous point is making that link and between diversity and performance. And I think if you have that and you have the policies in place to attract the female talent, so it's not just about finding it, but how do you attract that talent? Because if you're an amazing female executive and there's 5 different companies out there that all want you, I'm personally going to go to the company that has the most attractive policies for me, and that's inclusion for me as a woman, as a mother, whatever I am. I want to make sure that I'm included in that conversation. And so it's about changing those HR policies as well. Well, I have quite strong views on this as a female venture capitalist myself and focusing on female founders. And it really starts and ends with female decision makers in the investment process. So I think it's around 65% of all venture capital funds do not have a female within the decision-making arm of the business. So men are making decisions about where their funding goes, and it goes to other men. I think it's not a criticism. I think that is a fairly expected and normal thing. We tend to invest in people that look and sound like us. So if all of the VCs are men, then they're going to invest into other men. So it's how do we change that? We're not going to change necessarily where those people are investing, but how do we change what the decision makers landscape looks like? And that's by creating more female funds or more female focused funds or gender diverse funds or diversity generally, and VC funds investing into diverse groups, whatever that is, be that women or particular race, etc. I think that at Her Capital we want to be in control, because we know that the rate at which VC funding is going to females is not moving. I think we're at 3% in 2019, and I think that stat was the same in 2012. So 7 years, no change. So we have to inject female decision makers in the process to ensure that capital is directed into female founders or diverse founders.